Welcome everybody to Interesting AF, or Interesting as Fuck. It's your illustrious hosts here, Linda and Elaine. And today, after a week break where we were sitting with our thoughts about parenthood after the last episode,
Oh boy.
we are back with The Doc is In. And this one is a doozy. I think if you've seen the past episodes, my anger level was higher than a fistful of quarters, which I feel like for this one was an appropriate level of anger, apart from like a video game. However, it's the woman who wasn't there. Elaine, please take us through this documentary before my rage renews itself.
Yeah, I actually really can't wait for your what the fuck meter, which, give at any point, but that's up to you. So the woman who wasn't there, it's just over an hour, and you could probably do like a crazy deep dive, like a further deep dive into this. But man, I don't know if it's necessary. I would love to get like some psychologist in with that woman because Jesus fucking Christ. So it's just over an hour. It's about a woman named Tanya Head, who we later find out is not her name. It's Alicia, and I'm blanking on her last name, but she's a woman from Spain, who claims to have been in the World Trade Center on September 11th, 2001. And not just that she survived, but that she lost her fiance, boyfriend / husband / whatever.
Which changes during the entire recounting of this. She goes back and forth on who he was.
Back and forth. Right. And she becomes very active in the September 11th Survivors Network, raises a lot of money, organizes a lot of events, gets a lot of face time and airtime and connections politically because of the work that she's done, only for everyone to find out that not only was she not with this guy, Dave, not only was she not in the World Trade Center on 9/11. But Dave did exist. Dave was a real person. Dave lost his life in the World Trade Center. This documentary does a fantastic job protecting that man's identity. All we know is his name is David. God, that poor family, to have been through what they had to go through. And then hopefully, I don't know if it would be a good thing or a bad thing if they found out that this woman was using their dead family member for this ridiculous, unbelievable story. But so Dave did exist. He died in the World Trade Center. Tanya Head was not in the World Trade Center. She was not even in New York. She was not even in fucking America. She was going to school in Barcelona, just living an everyday life like any other day that she would, living in Spain. I don't even know if she had been to America at this point.
She had before.
Oh, that's right.
They sent her parents, I think, sent her for like a semester abroad in high
that's
school.
Right.
And I guess that's where her obsessed with Americans and America and all things American.
That's right. But this woman was not a survivor of 9/11. She was not engaged to or married or even dating or knew anybody who was a survivor of 9/11. She clearly has some severe issues that she needs to deal with, but chose to go to America shortly after 9/11, claim to be a part of it, which I think this brings up a really interesting point because someone mentions it, so many people felt like they needed to be a part of that day. And I think it goes without saying, we are all connected to that day. I don't fault anyone, even people who aren't American, for being I had feelings that day.
Of course.
And those are valid. So everybody is connected to that day because it was nothing we'd ever seen before, anyone, anywhere. But to take it to a level like this is truly diabolical.
Diabolical. And also, why lie? You could just be involved and have airtime
Right.
and say, I'm working with the survivors. Like, there didn't need to be the lying, the making up of stuff, dragging other survivors and like kicking them out of the organization they created just to be the president of the president. What?
Yeah.
Like, and
I mean,
and I go back to intent, right? Like always
yes.
with these types of things, it's the intent. And the intent wasn't to make people feel better. The intent was for her to get notoriety, and it lasted for so long.
Clearly.
For 6 years. And that one guy who was like, I'm not, that would have been you and I had we been like anywhere near this. We're like, this seems weird because we're a big fan of any conspiracy theory.
Hell yeah.
What I mean, what the fuck level when they started going to Barcelona? I was like no. The second they showed Barcelona, I was like, oh my god, this lady's Spanish probably, and oh my god, and she's lying. Like the second they showed her story from like somewhere else, I was like, this bitch is lying. And that's when my what the fuck like went up to like, I want to say I'm like a 16 on that one to find out. I mean, you kind of know because it says the woman who wasn't there, but still.
But to find out, like, in your head. Go ahead.
I just don't like. I was just and the dog. Why make up the fucking dog?
The dog pisses me off, and the woman, the friend of hers, the woman who was like, "Do you have a fucking dog? Like, I just love dogs. Let me see your fucking dog." I was like, "Girl, I love this. Like, I mean, I hate it because this is terrible, but like, seriously, just let me see your fucking dog. Who is Lupe? Like, stop with Lupe." This dog must love Lupe because this dog is doing nothing but walking. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Yeah. But like the title, The Woman Who Wasn't There, the obvious thing when you read it is like, okay, she wasn't actually in the towers. But then you find out she wasn't even in fucking America. Like, she was not even, this is, I think, one of the things that, there are many things that piss me off the most about this woman. But like, one of the things that pisses me off the most is like, we were living it immediately, right? Like we watched the second plane hit the second tower because no one could believe what was happening. And of course, it's New York. The cameras were right there. I remember the Today Show being like, something's happening. And then I went to high school. We had like guidance class, right? Where you talk about like what you want to do with your life and you figure out like what colleges fit you and whatever. And my friend Amanda, who had been at the dentist, busts in because she had been late. And she's like, a second tower, or like a second plane has hit. And we're like, what the fuck are you talking about? So like, you know, but the cameras were on all of that. Everyone has seen all the footage. Like we may not, there's not a whole lot of footage of the first one going in, but there's a fuck ton of footage of the second one going in. So like we were living it because we were on the East Coast. Like, people on the West Coast were waking up and it was already happening. But in Europe, it was probably a little bit delayed because the story was developing. And so she wasn't even, not only was she not in the World Trade Center, she wasn't in New York. She wasn't in America. She probably didn't even know about it until, and even if it's an hour because it's such a big story, she was not living it the same time we were, and then like injected herself. And then of course the other thing that pisses me off is like taking advantage of all these absolutely broken people who actually survived and actually had PTSD and like who actually lived more than any of us this awful event.
And her using Linda for like that flooding exercise, I like screamed. I was like, she is like, you're literally lying and then making this woman relive are you like, I was.
Well, and to use her to like, you find out where her scar on her arm comes from, right? Like literally diabolical is the word I keep thinking of because that includes things like manipulation, nefariousness, right? Like, she was in a car accident in high school or something, and they had to reattach her arm.
Yeah.
And that's where that comes from. Like, her arm was not mangled in September 11th because she was not fucking there. Like, to have to come up with that in your head, and like the level, what do the kids say today? Delulu. Like, she is the ultimate Delulu because she's come up with this like Hawaii trip and this romance of this man who she never knew because she just picked a name off a fucking list. I would want to know like exactly when she started showing, like, you know, they give like a general sense of when she started coming around, but like, you would have had to have, and you know, Dave's a pretty generic name, but like, so you could, I guess, just pick out Dave and then come up with the story later. But like, you had to know that there was a Dave and then whatever that last name was, but those things weren't getting printed until way later. Like, yeah, you could go to a wall where people have started posting like all those missing posters that went up, but like, the level of research that you had to put into it to put into such a horrible thing, like, just channel that, because it sounds like she was a smart woman, right? Like, channel that energy, channel that talent and brilliance into something constructive and creative, and like, she could have changed the world for the positive. Just, I don't know, man.
And the bitch came back. Like, she had the fucking audacity to come back to New York City. Like, it was like, oh, fuck,
Did she ever leave?
Maybe she didn't.
Did she ever leave?
What?
Maybe she didn't.
That makes me even more
She was renting
angry.
offices. I know.
Maybe she didn't.
She's clearly a con woman.
Clearly,
maybe she didn't leave.
But well, maybe that's because of her family, like all that financial like crap that was happening. And you know, he was her dad and her brother was in prison. What did she want to go to prison to? At least she didn't take any money. You know what? And I have to say, all those people that got conned by her, how fucking gracious are they?
Oh my God. Truly. Especially the ones that forgive her, but the ones that don't, I'm like, I'm with you, man. Fuck her.
Yeah.
That's like,
yeah, fuck her.
The split nature of the survivors that forgive her and don't forgive her, to me, is like the true spirit of New York too. Like, you've got half the people who are like, I'm a faithful person, like, I'm gonna go with God and like forgive on this one. And then there's the other half, or even if they are religious, they're fucking New Yorkers and they're like, you fucked with me, go fuck yourself. And like,
go fuck yourself.
I love New Yorkers. Y'all get a bad rap. I will always love you.
And I was in New York actually this past weekend. So this actually, like, and I went to the World Trade Center and the memorial and things, and still, like, it's still, I think, one of the most beautiful memorials I think that's ever been erected anywhere. To people, like, there are of course very moving war memorials and all that, but that one specifically, I mean, you walk in there, like, in the space, and you just feel it, like, and just the way that it's done, like the water, like using where the buildings were. I mean, I always am struck by that memorial. But watching that right after this trip, I was like, what? Yeah. This lady, I looked up a little bit where she was now or something. I don't know if you did.
Oh, you did. I meant to. Good work.
Yeah. So she apparently started an interior renovation company in 2021 in Spain.
Yeah.
So I think she left at some point
Oh.
after that sighting. Maybe it was after that sighting or whatever. But in 2021, because there was a story that she committed suicide, apparently, that people thought she committed suicide. And then, she had said that before during many of her stories. So she, like, I guess, started the conversation that she had committed suicide. Obviously not true. But yeah, continues to be just a liar and a cheat. And fine, she didn't make any money off of it, but I don't think that was that was what she was trying to get out of it. She was trying to get out of it notoriety. She was trying to get fame. She was trying to get attention because clearly her dad was now in prison and she was like, I need the world to pay attention to me. And the reporter, good for him.
Yeah.
Good for that reporter.
Absolutely. I love, and there were times that you felt, you didn't feel for her, but you the morals, your own morals are kind of tested with this because like we said before, she didn't take any money. She didn't make any money off of this. I'm not saying, of course, this does not justify anything because she sucks and is a terrible person and did a horrible thing to all these people.
Because there's no law. There's no law. There's no law against lying, right?
Well, right. Right. And they, then you hear about the history of her family and you're like, well, of course, this poor woman was destined to do something shitty like this. But that doesn't, that's not an excuse. But there were those gray areas sometimes, kind of like the Spider-Man of Paris. Not exactly the same, because I do actually kind of sympathize with that guy sometimes. But there were those gray areas where you were like, do we really throw her in prison for as long as we want to because she didn't take any money? But lock that bitch up, fuck her.
Yeah, that's the duality of New York, right? Just lock her up. But yeah. I don't know. Her fucking with the organization, I think was the thing that pissed me off the most. Kicking Jerry out, who was the leader of it, basically the guy who started it.
It was a coup.
And it was it was a coup, and he was like, I never, I'm not. And she killed something pure and just, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. The morals are there. Morality, you're whatever she did was wrong, but there's no law against what she did. Right. And also,
right.
And this is, the documentary does, like I said, like you said, a great job of protecting Dave's identity. But where were they in this entire thing? Did they know? Did they hear? Is that the reason why she got found out? Was it because somebody in his family go, hey, she's using the name Dave. Is it our Dave? And then, maybe she, they called the reporter and were hey, she doesn't know us at all. What's going on here? I don't know. Who knows? But yeah, that family. And then the red bandana,
she's crazy, but she has. Yeah. There's a lot of facial expressions going on.
this is just, I think the level of facial expression for this one was super high. I screamed many times while watching this. I ran after it when I watched it, which really took out my anger in a productive sense.
Good.
And I was like, this bitch. Yeah.
So is this a 16 your what the fuck rating?
Oh yeah. 16 is a what the fuck rating. Because what the fuck, lady? I mean, people were fucking, they were hurt. They were, wondering why they survived. And then you oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This one's got me
and there's a lot of people. Yeah. Yeah. You felt like you wanted to protect them so much. And there are so many, I when I say I love true crime and I love a good con story, I'm fascinated by it. I don't love that it happens to anybody, right? There's a lot of us that are in that boat. So I know I'm not by myself on this. It's fascinating because it's human psychology. It's because you could never fathom doing something like this, which is why I hope, right? Not you, but the universal you, to everybody who's listening, but you just hope that you could never even imagine being this diabolical. And so it's fascinating, right? And the psychology behind it. And like, I love a good con story. And some of the shit that she has is just like so typical. And you could even, like, you know, we did Going Clear. There's a lot of similarities between con people and cult leaders. There's those moments of those coups where you all of a sudden, like, you get that, whether it was the plan all the time, you get that little taste of power and you're like, wait, I could fucking lead this. And then you manipulate people and you go about taking over in really just like the craziest way. And, you know, just being so deep in your own delusion and using that creativity and that manipulation to make sure you always have enough money to get by, right? Like, she was renting fucking office spaces for when people would come, when she said she worked for Merrill Lynch, and she would rent office space to take meetings with people. Like, that takes so much coordination, but it also takes money. And like, there's just these, I mean, list any one of them. And I've watched a ton of the con artist ones, like the Scamanda chick and Anna Delveni or whatever her name was. And there's a new one out called Con Mom. And like, just, you know, Dr. John or whatever the Dr. John one was. Like, there's so many commonalities between these people. And the worst part of all of them, the cult leaders too, is they are taking advantage of people who are vulnerable and broken. And I don't know what it is about these people where they can identify that, because it seems like they glom onto these people pretty early on without really even building the relationship yet. And this is not victim blaming at all, because like, that's the last thing I would ever want to do. It is, these people just somehow have a way of recognizing in someone else the need for comfort, where they know they're already going to use it for bad things, if that makes sense at all.
No, it does. And it actually reminds me of something that sits, I read it in this book. I think I've mentioned the book before, Super Communicators. And basically there is
Mm-hmm.
Harvard, like back in like the early, before World War II, I think, was given a substantial amount of money to do an extremely long longitudinal study around what makes a successful person. Like, why do people succeed? Why do they, you know, kind of go on and all that? And first it was white males, obviously, and then obviously expanded with time. And there were some people, at some point the money ran out. And there were, the book talks about two different kinds of characters. Like, one that seemed like he was going to succeed, and the other one was like, you know, bad home life, you know, no job prospects, anything. There's a break of like a 15-year break in there. And then they meet them later and the story's reversed. So the guy who seemed like he was going to succeed completely failed. He had multiple divorces, his kids weren't talking to him, like his job was fine, but still like not successful. And the question, and the question was why? And the why was the strength of people's relationships. And I'm wondering if people that are seem broken, you can easily, they don't have connections anymore, right? They feel severed from everything else they have, which would something like the World Trade Center, you know, what happened on 9/11 would do, right? It severs your connection to anybody who wasn't there at that day or didn't go through it. And so you're latch on to the relationships that you have. And so it's prime fodder for a lady who makes up a story and pretends she's nice, and she's just fucking with them for her own fucking amusement.
That's
And
really,
also, God, I was just gonna say, like,
it's a really good point. It's a really, really good point.
yeah, and I just wonder, yeah, and I just wonder, you mentioned the money. How the fuck did you get the money? Didn't anybody do anything on that?
Although, like, if her dad fucking stole a bunch of money, they would have had to give that back. But I don't know, because she wasn't making money off the survivor group. I don't know. I need to know where the money, like, okay. Who is that? We're going to email the director because we need a follow up. Like, I need more information. And this one, hold on, let's see. I think this came out in 2012. And this was another one, yes, 2012, which I feel like, yes, there's a lot of those that we do because
where'd you get the fucking money?
That was
also,
clearly when I was like getting into like
email the
the height
from our
of
email.
my
Hopefully,
2011, 2010, 2011, 2012 was when I was like really going all in on documentaries.
Did you have a job?
Because they started becoming fascinating, and this one doesn't even have like the this is a robbery type of production, but like they had the animation, and it was different than just like talking heads, right, or the survivors or anything. So it was like at the time it was like, ooh, this has an intriguing piece to it, but now like I need follow up because I'm like, where's to get the fucking money? No. Oh, she definitely didn't have a job with Merrill Lynch. They reached out to Merrill Lynch. But
my blood pressure would not have been able to handle more than an hour. I'm not yet on
Merrill
blood
Lynch
thinners. Hopefully will not be. But my blood pressure would not have
a lot of people
to handle
but like
more
that's
than
not an
an
excuse
hour
either.
and 5 minutes.
All right, so this director has not done a ton.
TV,
so like I need him to
out for it. Look it out. Look, it's there.
I need him to. I need a follow up.
But yeah,
I need more information. But even like 1 hour was like they did a great job in the just over an hour telling of this.
When
but
you
still,
Google
like,
a movie, like things come out and you click on it, and I'm like, oh, that's free. Click, and then I feel like now we need to go into a con, like a full on con. Like, let's go. Like, I don't know. I'm feeling con men now, like con man, con woman.
It was available on Amazon Prime as well. Yeah.
Inject that 10 minutes into my veins. Just
hey, it works. But it is on Amazon Prime. Which some of these older ones I worry that we can't find them, but
hey, and let's say that it wasn't me that said it, even though I read a shit ton of romance novels.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to keep it a little bit lighter because we just had some heavy ones. Well, that one was particularly heavy. We had Exit Through the Gift Shop, SNL 50-year music, the year the Earth changed, then this. So yes.
And everybody will say good girl. And if you read romance novels, you'll understand what that means.
I almost said all the holes, but I said it anyway. Just can't fucking help myself.
Sorry.
You were thinking it.
Anyway, we do.
I'm so proud of you. Okay, so I have a great one.
No, judge away. I love judgment. Judgment is great. Judgment is great. How else am I gonna? How else am I supposed to be a good person?
That's what I get. I'm like, that's what I roll my eyes. We're like, good God Almighty.
Well, man. Yes, you were gonna say.
Sure, we all have our own version of trash. Clearly every ounce of what I've said in the last 73 seconds has been loaded with judgment, but no judgment here. You do. Right. But you can't judge a little, just a little bit. I'm glad you said that. Yeah, so I'm glad you said that because like I have a good next. I was going to go on to a theme, so hear me out. It is late April. I'm actually going to a wine dinner tonight to celebrate the Judgment of Paris of 1976, which is what put California and the United States on the map in terms of wine. It was a California versus Burgundy. That's what I'm going to tonight. I'm stoked. So I was going to go on theme in terms of in honor of the Judgment of Paris, which happened in late May. We could watch a wine documentary because I have lots of those that I've watched and love a lot. But because we also want to stick with con people, there's one in particular called Sour Grapes. Pretty sure it's still on Netflix. Yeah.
Stars are aligning. We love a good theme. And we love a good theme.
Sour Grapes streaming. And it will tie those things together.
Of course.
Wine and con people. So I think that should be our next one. That's right.
Love it.
Look at that.
You love you know I love
Stars are aligning. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to
love me the history.
Yes. And in honor of it, I think we should be drinking wine when we go over this one.
Yes,
I don't care what time of day we record. We will drink wine. And I'm going to nerd out a little bit, and I will bring some history of, although it doesn't tie into this particular documentary because
they say in French,
the theme that I had in my head, and it will almost be that time of year, is the Judgment of Paris. I will bring a little bit of
whatever, you know what,
history for that.
Judge away.
How about that?
Judge away. But our so now we have the doc is in, but the next episode that we're gonna have.
And we can get real pretentious again because we're talking about wine.
Because Elaine just keeps giving me her nuts stories. How many people she knows, how many famous people she knows.
There you go.
Please stay tuned for
That's
next
where the
episode,
judgy comes
we're
in.
We're going to go 6 degrees of Elaine. And we're going to see how connected and how much connection she has to all the people she's met over the years. And stay tuned for that one because that's going to be exciting. Also stay tuned for me continuing. Am I the angry one here?
Yes.
No, I don't, but not the angry one. I think it's better that you're not the angry one, right? No, because I'm pretty sure if I watched them again, I would still be angry.
What does that make me? Oh no. To be fair, I'm the one that keeps recommending the documentaries, which are angering you. And I'm just not as elevated as you because I've seen most of these before. So it's Elaine's fault. It's my fault for making Linda the angry one.
Right. Yeah, because it's fine.
Fair. I was still angry for a lot of them, to be fair.
Yeah. All right. Well then,
God damn, it's priceless. That's a real good one.
I will try not to be angry.
Great material for a podcast.
I'll take bets. Email us. An interesting .ladies
just before we watch these anger-inducing
we will
documentaries.
Be doing
this one won't be as infuriating as this, of course.
I will try to.
So at least you know
my anger levels down.
It's fine.
I truly promise.
And at least you know, the bar is lower.
If you have any
questions, in terms of
concerns,
so
use that email address. Email us. Call. Do whatever. Carry your pigeon and let us know if you want to hear something too. An episode request. We're happy to, accommodate as we can. So Stay safe, everybody. We will see you next week.
That's a good one. Yes. Stay interesting.